Here's the girl.
Hello, and welcome to Guilted Into It.
Hola, muchachos.
Did you miss me?
Muchachas.
Yes, welcome
Oh,
back,
yes.
Bridget. It wasn't
We
that
did
good
miss you.
last week.
It wasn't
without
funny
you.
without you,
watched
Bridget.
it, and
They
I
were
couldn't
boring.
help but agree.
Figured that's what
It
you would
was
say.
it was a
However-
long 55 minutes.
However, was it necessary for you not to be here? Seriously.
It was because I did not start packing at all for my trip,
Until Wednesday
Well,
evening.
and I had a lot of errands to run,
At 7 o'clock
and
at
I
night.
was coming down with an illness,
But
which did afflict me on my trip.
did it?
Yes, I was
You
sick
didn't,
for my
it
trip.
didn't look like it.
Well, that's because I pushed through, and I took a lot of
My girl.
decongestant.
No.
It's my
yeah.
girl right there. I
That's
pushed
right.
through illness for
I
the
said,
sake of partying.
I said to your uncle, I said, you see that? I go, that's how I know you're not Irish. Bridget,
Right,
dealing with the same thing you are. She pushed right through. I said, you're on the couch like a whiny baby.
right.
Big difference.
Not everybody's as strong as I am.
No.
It's true. You get that from your mother.
And your grandmother. Yes.
Yes,
And your
always.
aunt.
Yes, from me
But it's
and you.
true. I never.
And they don't get anything from just me.
Don't forget about me.
And you,
Oh,
yes,
excuse
of
me,
course.
Who instilled in you the responsibility that even if you're sick, you at least should make an effort?
Yeah, that's a really annoying thing you've instilled in them, because these two think the world's not going to go on without them if they stay home sick.
And most of the time,
But
it
it's
doesn't.
true.
It's not true. What did I used to call you when you were an assistant principal, and there was something that you really should have taken off for, but you didn't? What did I tell you?
I forget what you called me.
Come on.
I did. I forgot.
I would tell you it'll be okay, POTUS. They'll be all right without you.
And you know what? I've been gone for 2 years, and they're not all right. They miss me.
They do.
Well, but they're still alive.
Barely,
still
barely, barely. It's like a
Things aren't
slight
as good.
pulse.
POTUS and SCOTUS.
So we're gonna share some stuff. We're gonna chit chat a little bit. We have an in studio guest tonight. Very exciting.
You're not alone this evening.
Yes, if you were a Howard Stern fan way back in the day, you would definitely know Steve Grillo. He was the intern. I thought you lowered your phone.
I shut it, but I forgot to lower it. Now it's
damn it.
low.
Right. So,
He was an intern on the Howard Stern show. He hosts his own internet show, Aftershock XL, on YouTube, and
sounds dirty.
it does, and he's probably going to tell us all
I'm
about
going
it.
to talk to him about that.
And he wrote a book called Gorilla Parts,
Also sounds dirty.
and we will talk to him about this. But first, you have to put up with us for a few minutes because we have stuff to say.
Yes.
Yes.
Since you began, my lovely, beautiful daughter, would you like to continue?
Yes, I was away on my sister's bachelorette party I had planned for many, many months. So it was, I would say, a success. Sarah
looked
seemed to
like
have
it.
a great time. We had, we went to Fort Lauderdale, so we were in the sun. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm bronze.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
you're going to have to go to that
I
fair
thought
makeup
the sun
now.
was out the entire time you were there.
I'm tan.
You look
That
like
is
a
10.
goddess.
I'm serious. Look at me.
do.
I'm like,
How am I
it's
tanner than you?
unbelievable.
Well,
oh,
next to me,
Bridge.
yes,
I'm
you
pretty
are.
good.
Oh, Bridge.
Well, we did. We had a lot of fun.
you have
we
a panty
had.
line we could see, maybe?
No, I'm not going to do that on the podcast.
Oh.
Not until Steve Grillo's dirty parts of the show. No, but we had a lot of fun. We did. We had the hibachi guys come to the house.
Surprised you didn't burn the
That was
place
so cool.
down.
It was very cool. They came. They did hibachi. We were shooting each other with sake.
Wait, did you hear what she just said?
What? Yes.
I'm surprised you didn't. If Grandma was planning a bachelorette party, it would be like, no, we can't have that. The place will go on fire.
Well,
No fun.
Look at, did you see the flame?
That
was
boat
coming
could
out?
He
spring
did
a
blow
leak.
fire out of his mouth.
Yes.
So
He did.
I don't think the Airbnb host needs to know that happened.
Exactly.
Did not tell him.
Yeah,
Did
what
not ask
could
permission.
they have thought?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a more forgiveness thing than permission. Did
Yeah.
not ask.
Yeah.
We had a great time. We all wore our matching shirts that day. I think I have a little picture of us
With the matching shirts.
with the matching shirts. Bobby,
Hello.
if he's not asleep back there.
He's
There we go.
He's looking for the
Okay, it's gonna be that top picture.
top.
Up,
There we go.
There.
There we
Oh,
very
are,
cute.
at the Airbnb in our little matching shirts.
Very
Sarah's last splash was the theme.
So
Love it. Love it.
I just have one question.
Yep.
How did Doug get there, but I wasn't allowed to go?
It was pretty
He's
exclusive
part of the
invite.
girls.
He is.
I'm a little, a little pissed.
Well, I wasn't invited.
There was an age cap. Anyway, the next thing we did a
an
little
age
brunch
cap.
moment, so you could do that next picture there. Yep. So we went to brunch. That was me and
Oh,
Sarah.
there she
look at
is.
your tan. I mean,
That was before we got any sun.
Sarah looks
That
great.
was the first day of the trip.
Did Sarah spray tan because she looks too tan?
I don't know. Well, that was the first day of the trip, so I hadn't gotten much sun.
Yeah, I
yet.
can really see how much tanner you are right now.
Yes, thank you.
the difference
You guys
is
aren't funny
extraordinary.
is the thing. Like,
Blinding.
whatever.
It's
I don't give
fitting.
a shit. I know I'm
blinding.
not. I know I'm a pale person, and everyone thinks it's so funny to call me pale, and I don't give a fuck. So anyway,
Wow.
because I don't care. I
Seems
have
as though the
accepted
sun
it.
has lightened your hair as well.
I have accepted the fact that I am
what?
a pale person.
It's okay.
That you are Caucasian.
Yes, I have accepted it.
You are
it's totally fine. So anyway,
Pigment deficient.
we had a lovely time at brunch, and then we went on the boat because we're going to that.
that looks
now.
so nice.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
So we were going around on this boat all day. We had a great time. Something about the boat though, I had booked this obviously in advance, far in advance, and in the app it said, okay, like you're confirmed. You could take the picture away now. They were like, okay, like you're confirmed. I was waiting to get an email from it, never did. So then like Thursday, I emailed them. I was like, hey, can I get some like information just about the boat thing? And they send me like a phone number, and I call the phone number, and the guy's like, yo. I'm like, I was like, hey, I was like, I booked a thing, and he's like, I thought you were someone else. I'm like, first of all, who else would I be? Like, if you thought it was someone you would say yo to, you'd have their number saved. So I was like, oh yeah, no, I like booked the boat. At 11 o'clock tomorrow. I want to make sure it's still happening. He's like, I'm sure it is. I was like,
He didn't even work there.
I was like, what do you mean? I was like,
Answering the
helpful.
phone.
so he's like, let me call the captain and I'll shoot you a call back. I was like, all right, bro. Like, and then he calls me back and he's like, yeah, everything's all set for tomorrow. See you guys at 11. Like the captain will reach out later today. I was like, okay. And then we hung up, and the captain texted me at 8 p.m. and he was like, hey, see you guys tomorrow at 11. And then he sent me the address of the boat, but he sent it to me like he had taken a picture of his phone after he had pulled it up on maps. And I was like, what exactly have I done? And
the captain doesn't know how to use
yes,
his phone.
So then we get to the boat. He's missing a tooth, obviously. and we get on the boat. We're loading all our stuff in, and he's like, he's having me sign like some papers and stuff. And then he's like, listen, if the Coast Guard boards us, this is what you say. And I was like, I don't like the sound of that at all. I said, does that happen a lot? And he's like, no, but if it does. And then he like made an announcement to the group. He's like, hey, I told her, but if the Coast Guard gets on the boat, I said, what's the likelihood of this? And he was like a complete nut, but we had a great time.
What did he want you to say?
Oh, that we had a choice in who our captain was. That he was like, here's the list
He's
of
not
other
supposed
captains.
to be driving the boat.
And I was like, I don't think this is legal, but I'm going to turn a blind eye. And we had a great day on the boat.
I'm sure you did. Oh
Yeah.
my
Well,
God.
I'm telling you that
That's funny.
my bachelorette party was
Oh, here we go again.
a
Were you
brunch.
there?
You weren't there.
With two people,
Where was I?
me and Lisa.
That was it.
And
Nobody
me.
could make it
Wow.
Two
because
people?
my maid of honor didn't plan it.
I feel like it was you.
Your maid of honor was 19.
Yeah, my first mistake.
Wasn't the drinking age 18?
No.
No, it was
Oh.
21.
It's always
Oh,
been
really?
What the
21.
hell was I supposed? I didn't have any money.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, that's great. I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad
Sorry.
everybody got home.
You did.
You did get home
Amy,
safely.
Next wedding.
I
Next
did wear
wedding.
white to the
You did.
bridal shower,
Yes.
so
Yes,
her bridal shower.
that's tough.
But you did get home safely, so that's good.
It looked
we
like a
had
great time.
We had a great time.
I
We had a lot of
enjoyed
fun.
all the little stories on Snapchat.
Yes.
That
Yes,
I
always love
saw.
a good Snapchat
Yeah.
story.
It was good.
We honestly we had a great time. Our flight home was not so great. We went to brunch earlier in the day, so we were all feeling a little loose for the flight. We get on the plane, about to, take a nice little nap on my way home. And about 40 minutes in, a passenger, a couple rows behind me, starts screaming, "I gotta get out of here!" Which is not what you want to hear. 30,000 feet in the air. I was like, "You're not going
Not
anywhere."
ideal.
Yes. So he was being restrained for the remainder of the flight, and he got he got little like zip tied his hands around his back. He was really it was really a scene. And ultimately they decided to land the plane in Orlando to remove him from the flight.
I'm sorry, what seat was he sitting in?
He was in the exit row, which
Oh, the
which is-
emergency exit row.
right, which is not ideal when it comes to someone screaming, "They got to get out of here."
Yeah.
Because he could, if he wanted
Could have
to.
technically done that.
Yes. So then the best part of it was when we landed in Orlando, he got up and walked off the plane like it was nothing.
Well, he had
Like
to
he
get
didn't
out
just
of there. is
screw
what he
everybody
said.
on that plane.
Yes.
Well, did they make any announcement as to what was going on and why?
No, they really didn't make a lot of announcements at all.
think it
until
was
we were
pretty
landing.
obvious, no?
Yeah, we all pretty
Well, it
much.
might have been, but I mean,
What we heard through the grapevine was that he had a severe anxiety attack.
you're
Well, that's
right.
bullshit.
And I thought in my head, I was like, I would have a severe anxiety attack that could only be cured by landing in Santorini, Greece.
Maybe he
true.
wanted to go to Disney World.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
So,
but he, listen, we know plenty of people who have suffered from anxiety. It eventually passes. It doesn't require
Oh no.
turning the plane around and landing.
Sarah sent me
Turns out-
a Snapchat and it said sound up, and I turned my sound up and it was just whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah,
That's
he
what
was
he
doing
was
that.
doing that.
felt like there may have been some substances
There
involved
may
that we
possibly. That doesn't sound really anxiety-like. 'Cause
No.
If anyone I knew was having an anxiety attack and doing that, this would have been the response.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yes.
Would you
so-
do?
But-
I said that to
That somebody
me.
should have dragged him into the bathroom and slapped his face with water and threatened him with the plane's straitjacket, the way I did with our mother.
Well, they
he
did.
made?
They did put a lot of ice on him, and they eventually used a seat belt to fasten him to the seat.
Good. They should have.
Like they use, the example
Okay.
one they use for emergencies.
What-
When
Oh,
she's
they
up
got
there,
that right around
and they
there.
were like, whoop.
Was there a
clipped him
sky
in.
marshal on the plane?
There were.
Okay, I thought there was. They kept calling them something. They didn't call them air marshals, but they seemed to be.
In control.
I don't know.
of things?
No one was in control, but they. I don't know if they were just good Samaritans, like volunteers, because they grabbed a bunch of guys to stand in front of the exit doors, lest things go left.
Maybe maybe
God.
Air Marshal John was in the restroom, not resting.
Oh my God.
That's all I could think about in the moment.
Air Marshal John. All right.
I was telling your uncle about it, and we all, I think, have the same general consensus. It would have been lights out, meatball. See you when we land.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
would have been the end of
That
that.
would have been Rob.
Pretty much.
Rob would have been like,
and then we
I'm
would have
just
gotten
gonna-
removed from the plane.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and arrested.
Yeah.
Nobody was ever arrested. You would have been arrested.
No. But we were talking about it, and had anyone noticed what Mommy was going through on the way to Italy,
Yeah, you would have been removed.
we might have had a situation, because what's to say she didn't walk up to one of the exit doors and go, thinking it's the refrigerator? Like, who knew?
I don't know
Right?
if I was strong enough to open it.
Well, I'm glad we didn't have to find out.
They wouldn't want me near the door.
All right. Well, we are going to take, we need another chair. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to hear from our non-sponsor, Lifevac. And we're going to get another chair and get ready for our guest who huffed it out on the LIRR for us. All the way from New York, from Manhattan. Not Queens, Manhattan. So we'll be right back.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I have 30 seconds to give you a very important message. My name is Arthur Lee. I'm the CEO and inventor of LifeVac, a simple choking rescue device that could save a life in a choking emergency. We've saved over 3,000 lives now, but we're not there. 5,000 people a year choke to death, one child every 5 days. Please consider protecting your family in a choking emergency with LifeVac. Go to lifevac.net today. Thank you for your time.
This is personal to me. I'm John Field, 9/11 responder and advocate. I walked the halls of Congress for 20 years. You too may qualify for the same 9/11 benefits as I do. It's true, it's the law. If you were south of Canal Street and you had any of the 69 cancers linked to 9/11, you may qualify for compensation up to $250,000 and free health care. Sadly, only 10% of you have enrolled. Access what you are owed. Call now to find out if you qualify. I fought side by side with Barish and McGarry for 2 decades in Washington, D.C. to get benefits for all victims, not just responders. You owe it to yourself to call Barish and McGarry, lawyers for the 9/11 community. I trust them. So can you.
That's so cool.
All right, we're back with the next segment. How many people can we fit around this table?
I love being in the middle of family. This is so cool.
Isn't this great? Everybody, please welcome Steve Grillo, our guest this evening.
Thank you. I just got the coolest thing. I got an autograph from Pepper for my sister. That's awesome.
There it is.
Because when I grew up, you know, there was only one TV and there were 2 videotapes, Mary Poppins and Annie, and I know every word to every song. Because that was
Me
that
too.
was the that was the babysitter. You know, my mom would sit my sister down, turn the thing on, and she'd be able to go. My sister would be focused and watch it, and I had no other choice but to watch Annie or Mary Poppins.
Yep, they weren't going to let you watch. She wasn't going to let you watch anything
No,
else.
no,
that's
no,
for
I
sure.
wasn't allowed. Are you kidding me? She was the baby. She got everything.
So I want to thank you for coming all the way out here.
Oh,
You know, it was
please!
like-
This is great. I'm very excited. This is probably one of my favorite. I was excited to do this more than any other podcast.
Come on.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I've been doing podcasts like crazy, and some of these people I don't even know. They just reach out to me on Gorilla Parts, the book website or something, and then my writing partner Jason calls me up and goes, "I got you booked on this. I got you booked on that." So I just do it. But you specifically, I was very excited to go look. Like you and the Sopranos.
Yes, you just did
the Jamie Lynn Singler, Robert Eiler podcast.
Oh,
And
okay.
I got to announce that we're doing Gorilla Parts, the musical now.
Yes. I hope there's a part for me.
Yeah, of course there's a part for you. I have Jamie Lynn Singler attached, Henry Bronstein, who was the director of my Sopranos episode and executive producer of The Sopranos, and he's attached now. And now I got Roseanne.
There we go.
It's slowly coming to fruition, and it's completely makes no sense because we don't have a script yet.
Yeah, but
we have now.
You finished the book, so now you can
That's the
start
script.
writing the
That's
script, right?
Yeah.
So for people who maybe don't know, just explain your connection with The Sopranos before we get into the book.
Well, I was Anthony Jr.'s stand-in. In the 4th season, in the 3rd episode, I get into a fight. It's a very famous scene, which I didn't realize. I get into a fight with Jackie Jr. in the pizzeria. And it was kind of cool one day. I saw like some of the top 10 Sopranos episodes, and that scene was in it. Like, I was like, oh, shit. That's my scene. That's me. Because famously, Michael Imperioli turns to the camera and goes, "Don't disrespect the pizza parlor," and that's pretty much really funny. like, don't disrespect the pizza parlor. What? Like, these Italians are crazy people. It's true. They say stuff like that. So, I got lucky enough to work with Michael, and it was and Jack and Jackie Jr. He's a nice kid. Jason Sorbona, his last name is, and it was cool. And then the kid from Doogie Howser was in it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Italian kid. I know.
No.
not Neil Patrick Harris.
No. It's he's a really nice kid. He does a lot of work.
Yeah.
He's
He
actually
was,
in that new Stallone thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's what is it?
What is the name of that? I can never remember the name of that new Stallone show.
Oh, it's so good
have
too.
no idea.
Tulsa King.
Tulsa King.
Yeah, he's in Tulsa
I
King.
remember that.
I know his name. It'll come to me. I've been on like a crazy tour, like doing all these shows. This is my favorite. I'm so happy to be here.
Well,
Thank you for having me.
thank you. We're very honored to have you here. We have a lot to talk about, and so we're gonna just jump right in. So, Gorilla Parts first. You want to tell first, and you're not leaving before you sign this tonight. But
absolutely,
there it is, Gorilla Parts. It is now on Amazon, and it's
The Audible's up.
Audible.
The Audible is up.
And the
Yeah,
Audible is
That
up.
just happened like a couple days ago. So,
So-
that was an interesting thing to do.
Who's
You
reading
narrated?
Me.
Oh, you did? Oh, wow.
You get to hear my annoying voice for 4 hours and 44 minutes.
That's got to be tough to do. I know that they say that, you can make money by reading books for Amazon and they sell it, but
Yeah. It was.
I would think that would be,
I would like to do
if you
that.
mess it up, then you have
Oh
to go
yeah,
back
no,
and-
yeah,
right?
no. That I know I could read copy. I've taken like voiceover classes and stuff like that, and you have just a copy. I can read it and you get through it. But when you have to read 200 and something pages, it's a whole lot. It has to be exact. So I wrote these stories, but I wrote it with somebody. So he peppered in his sort of style
Yeah.
into some of these stories and. I know. I'm half Italian, half. I always say I'm half Irish, half embarrassed. I talk with my hands. So it has to be exact for order to approve it.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of times I was reading this and I'm going. My buddies, God bless my friend Roy McDonald. He was like, "No, go back."
He rested.
No. He was directing me, so he's like, "Go back." There was a comma there, bro. You gotta respect the commas. I was like,
You do.
he's right.
From
He's
an English
right.
teacher.
Yes.
Respect
Yeah,
the
you gotta
commas.
respect the commas.
Don't
That-
disrespect the
don't
commas.
don't disrespect the commas
Or the pizza parlors.
So it was I got it done and it's available, so buy it please. It was so hard.
Available on Audible, and you can get the book at Amazon. And why did you call it Gorilla Parts?
It was a tribute and an FU to Howard, I guess. I just really kind of like this book helped me really contemplate like how awfully advantage I was taken of. And a lot of people sit there and go, well, you had you could have left any time.
Well, how old were you?
I was 19 years old. I was a kid, okay?
And, yeah.
And I was working with the hottest radio show in the country that was just exploding everywhere. Like just Private Parts came out, and there was Miss America, which was dedicated to me. There was Private Parts the movie. There was a pay-per-view special. There was all these things, the E! Show, and then Howard TV. There was all these things that I was a part of. So yeah, like why wouldn't I want to be there just for the possible connections? But it's also illegal to not pay people when they're working, and I went unchecked because I was afraid if I opened my mouth I'd get thrown out. So I went unchecked for at least 5 or 6 years, not getting a dollar. And if the tests and stuff that I did there, if I was anywhere else in a regular like network setting, I would have been making 6 figures, and I made nothing. So I had to hustle my own way, where I went and I did appearances, or I worked in nightclubs, I worked in bars, I did promotional events. I had to get my hustle on, just so I could have a roof over my head. But it's just not kind of cool that like someone with that kind of money didn't like look at me and go, "You're worth something." It's like to me that's you're just worthless if you're just sitting there and you're gonna do it. I'll take advantage of you then, and that's what happened. So.
But then he did dedicate the book. I saw the clip. I watched the clip of him
Oh yeah.
making you read it live on the air.
Yeah. Well.
And making fun of you while you were reading it. But
Yeah, well, I had some bizarre premonition that he like trashed me in the book. So I was already anxiety ridden to begin with. It's just my nature. But up into the coming parts, I was like getting more and more anxiety because I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be horrible. And about a week before the book came out, I was walking with him and someone he didn't want to talk to somebody walking down the hallway. So we went to an office. We shut the door. So he didn't want to be bothered with them. And I go, yeah. This is my life. So when we were in the office together, I was like, oh, I had a dream about the book. He's like, so I think his reaction was the fact that he thought someone slipped out that I dedicated the book to him, to me. So he was like, what are you talking about? What? What do you mean? What about the book? I go, I wanted to say, I had been freaking out because I think you're going to trash me in the book. So I just said, it's going to be great. I had a dream. The book's going to be great. He was like, oh, okay. And it was like a weird moment. So when that morning when the book was released and he had the box of books and he opens up the box and the first book he gives to me. So I'm like, oh, and he's like, I want you to read this. I'm like, he's going to make me read him trashing me? So I literally was having a panic attack. If you watch me like read this, because I go, oh, he goes, what's the matter? I go, I don't know. Like, when I got to a certain point, I could see my name towards the bottom, and it was just so overwhelming that it literally messed up instead of the word debt, I said debit. Because he said a special debt of gratitude to Steve Grillo, and I said debit, and
That's
that
it.
made it
That's
famous.
it. They ripped on him. Yeah. They went
So
off.
yeah, anyway, it was just to this day I still think like wow, but you know I talk about this a lot with people, and some people are like, you know, that was probably his guilt. They're like, well, if I dedicate a book to you, and I don't pay you, I dedicated a book to you. You know,
yeah.
like something like
You
that.
can always say
know?
Howard Stern dedicated a book to, you know, like.
Did he ever hire you, or were you always an intern?
Well, that's the thing. When you're an intern, you get credit at school
Right.
in lieu of pay and the
Right.
hours you work.
Right.
I blew through those credits in the first 3 months because they let me come in every day, so I came in every day. So after the credits, I went unchecked. And the moment they realized that, when the general manager Tom Chiusano pulled me into his office, he was white as a ghost, because if I made a stink, if I would have went, he would have lost his job, and I could have sued that company for God knows how much. And that would have been
Woulda,
that would have been
coulda,
his
shoulda.
ass. Who knows? There's something that I'm learning about. It's called emotional terrorism, and it doesn't have a statute of limitations.
Oh.
Yeah. So
okay.
I got people looking into that, because not for nothing.
You can afford it.
Yeah, exactly. I want a piece.
How do you feel about him today?
I don't.
You don't.
No, I don't. Like, I don't know. He's just taking a turn where I don't. You know, it's not fun. I don't listen. I didn't really listen after I left. I'm not in a car. I live in Manhattan.
Right.
You know, like, it's not like I came home and turned on the radio. I turned on the TV, and so I went on a bunch of times after that. But after the fact that he's not using anybody from the past on the shows anymore, like, he's all about moving forward, not looking back. I have no need for him. You know, he's not going to promote my book, and then, so I'm going to say whatever the hell I want, and I'm going to tell the truth, and that's it.
And not worried about it, and that's good. I mean,
No,
you know, because so many.
every story in there is verified.
Because I asked you at the before we went on, I was like,
Yeah.
"Is anything off limits?" And you were like, "Nope, nothing's off limits."
No,
And
that's-
most people would be like, really, we can't talk about this. And
No, I'm here to talk. I wrote a book. Let's talk about whatever.
So, what did your mom think of the book?
Yeah, well, you know, she had to read some of the more embarrassing parts, like a lot of stuff with my ex-wife and stuff, and other girls involved. Yeah, she was. I said, "What did you think?" She goes, "It's okay." Like she was disturbed, but she didn't want to say she was disturbed. She was like, you know, like, I know she wanted to go, "Really, Stephen?" You know, which I got my whole entire life, but at this time it was. She didn't say that, which made it even
That
scarier.
makes it even scarier.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, it's not every day your son writes a book, whatever the
Yeah.
topic.
The
So-
worst is, I got my friends from grammar school, like, you know, we're on a group that, who would have thunk that out of all of us, you wrote a book? I'm like, that's kind of insulting, bro. I know how long we've been friends, but like, just, what, I did it and you're jealous now? Is that the deal? What's going on?
Well, you know, Roseanne wanted to write a book, and I was very encouraging, but
She told me, "Oh,
never,
Roseanne, nobody wants to hear about your life." That's what she said to me.
That's fair. That's the way I felt, but like, the person I dedicated the book to was a really good friend of mine, Russ Bernelli, and he was just relentlessly for 25 years. Write a book, write. You have such great stories. Write a book. And I was just like, yeah. I was like, Russ, no one cares about what. But he goes, your stories are so great, Steve. Seriously. And this was a man who was the first general manager for the Limelight. Okay, so he's got stories even more so than I do, and so I met Jason and I told him a couple stories, and we sat down and we wrote 13 pages without even thinking.
Well, you have to, you know, and people say this to me all the time about the movie. You know, you were a part of radio history.
Yeah.
So anybody who was listening to Howard Stern at that time, religiously,
Oh, they did.
you know,
Yeah, they bled.
like I told my
They bled.
brother-in-law, and he knew who you are, you know, so those people will be interested, and then, you know, and then it gets talking, and then, they'll say, this, you got to read this was when Howard Stern, you know, and then that's how it goes.
But
And
it's
so,
not just a book about Howard
Right.
Stern.
It's about your life.
The Sopranos,
Yeah.
my early childhood, my wrestling years. There's like my nights at Scores every night. You know what I'm saying?
Lord.
So,
well, that's the part that made your
Lord.
mother blush.
Yeah, my ex-wife is a whole chapter. We're still best friends. Don't get me wrong. But you know, we had some interesting things going on there. It wasn't a conventional marriage, put it that way. She liked
Got it.
girls, so I didn't have to cheat.
Conventional for
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't have to cheat. She just brought him home.
She
It
was
pretty
okay
cool.
with that. Oh,
Yeah,
there you
but,
go.
no, but I could never pick the girl out. There was always she had to pick the girl,
Wow.
and I'll take that.
All right. Yeah. So, how did you? I don't remember. How did you get to go from the jump? Because I'm assuming it was a jump from
Well,
Stern, then to The Sopranos.
it's funny because
But
like
you were still pretty young when you did.
yeah, no, well, I got bit by the acting thing because I was in an off-Broadway play. It was called Grandma Sylvia's Funeral, and I never
that.
acted a day in my life. The first time I ever auditioned was on an off-Broadway stage, and I just wanted to make money. I guess sometimes when you don't give a shit, it's probably the best audition. You go, so
That's how I wasn't got Annie.
yeah. She gave a shit. Who didn't want to be an Annie? Come on now. So no, I did an appearance. I had to go to the show. It was an interactive play, so like everybody, all the actors were in the studio or in the audience, and there was actors on stage. It was a Jewish funeral, basically, and I had taken an acting class in college where I had to memorize some like monologue, and they were like, "Well, they want you for the show." I was like, "Well, they're going to pay you." I went, "Oh, they're going to pay me." Okay, well, I'm going down there, and I went to the show, and I thought it was awful. And the night before, I had an appearance. I maybe got 2 hours sleep, and I went to Scores, and I did 2 hours at the radio show. I did the 4 hours at the radio show. I went home and took like an hour nap, and then I went to the show, and I'm sitting in the audience. I was like, I didn't realize the guy who was the director. Excuse me. He was sitting right behind me the whole time because he was an audience member, and he played. And I went. So on the second half, I went home. So now I was Friday. I got to audition on Saturday for this guy in between shows. So he's sitting there and he's leaning back in his chair. He's this pompous little guy, and with his legs crossed, he goes, "Before we even start, Mr. Grillo, I want you to explain to me why you walked out on my show." I was like, "Shit." He goes, "I was sitting right behind you. I watched you sleep the whole first half, and then you didn't come back." I go, "Listen, man, I got to be honest. I'm working my ass off here. I'm trying to make a living. I had an appearance the night before. I got 2 hours of sleep. Then I went to the show, and then I came here. I was exhausted, and I thought out of respect for you, of the show, I didn't come back because I don't think I would have made it through the second half without absolutely falling asleep." And he goes, "I'll accept it. Fine. Now go ahead." And I got the part.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was more about I think my improv skills than anything. Just improv, I was bullshitting my whole life. That's what improv is bullshit. Yeah. Think about it. You're just making things up as you go along. I've had to do that to protect myself my whole life.
Right.
Whether it be on the street or with my mother, you know what I'm saying? More so my mother.
Your mother, yeah. Yeah, but your mother was Irish, right?
Yeah.
Or is Irish?
Big Irish family. She's the third oldest of 10. I'm the oldest of 16 grandkids.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I had a very blessed family. Seriously, it was always Christmas and Mother's Day and New Year's Day and Thanksgiving and Easter and communions and birthdays and weddings. We were all always in attendance. And then Grandma passed away, and now everybody's like, it's messed up. But I love the fact that you guys have a close little knit family. I feel very at home here.
Pass away.
And then
They're not going to talk to each other.
Right.
They have no reason.
What? Yeah, she says these
You ain't ready.
things.
You're in good shape. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They
You
can't
could
get
probably
away
do more
from
push-ups
me.
than I can.
Mom, they can't get away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not her, it's her.
Nobody can.
You know, she's going to be 80.
Oh my God! Really? Look at you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my God! I know people that are 80 and they don't look as good as you. That's for sure.
Well, now that everyone knows how old I'm going to be, that's all right.
Wear it as a badge of
Everybody I know
honor,
that's close to
Judy.
80 looks close to 80.
We
Yeah, you
say
do
your
not.
age all the time.
Yeah.
We say your age all the
I
time.
know.
So now, are you still doing the internet show, Aftershock?
I've sort of I've taken a little break from it because it's just there's so many people that were in the genre. Every whack packer's got a podcast now and stuff
well,
like that.
checked it out a little bit, and
Yeah, there's
you
a
had
lot
some
like
characters.
yeah, no, like Shuli's got a show. Jim Florentine's got a show. Like all these guys, everybody's got a show. So it's kind of like, if I get a good guest and stuff like that, I can always just really just join right back up to it. But yeah, it was going good during the pandemic. It kind of kept me, and plus I used to have a studio, something as cool as this, and then I lost the studio during the pandemic. My buddy had to close down, which I just found out. I just had lunch with him the other day that he's reopening the studio, but in a different location. So
Maybe.
I'd rather have a setting like this to do it than everybody else sitting in there on their phones at home doing it. It's not the same to me. I had a studio, and it was like it was like legit. And just doing it on your computer at home, I don't want to do that.
yeah, it's and it's harder to have guests and stuff when it's
Yeah.
in your home. Although before this, I did have a podcast, and it was rudimentary to begin. I mean,
Yeah.
it was literally the computer.
Yeah.
And the first guest I had, we were like this close in order to be. And it was John Ziegler, and we were this close in order to be in the picture. So I'm talking to him like, so anyway,
So do you still speak to anybody from the cast at all, or?
I do. I actually do a lot of appearances with the girl who played Molly,
Okay.
Tony Ann, and occasionally Aileen, who played Annie, will join us.
Yeah, yeah. I had a crush on all you kids. I was like, oh man, that was my first. Gotta love those redheads, man.
Yeah, no. So
Well,
we do.
just let me interject. As wonderful as she was in the movie,
Yes.
you had to see her in the actual show as Annie.
Oh really?
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, I would have loved
Yeah,
to.
she was phenomenal.
Can we do Annie the 2000? Was it 2010 or something? What did they say? 2K or something? Yeah,
Y2K?
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
She was a kid in school with a record player or singing a song. She went from
So-
that to on the
What-
road for 18 months.
Wow, were you the stage mom? You had to be with her,
I
right?
was the mother, but I was not a stage mom. I had
Okay.
a good time.
Yeah, well, that's
She
the
was
trick.
busy.
Isn't it though?
I said you were busy.
You were probably more famous than she was, right?
No, not at all. I had to do a few interviews and all, but
Yeah, no.
it was all
well,
about her.
working on The Sopranos, like Robert Eiler always had to have somebody there. You have to have whether it's
It's very funny because on the movie, yes, someone had to be at all times. Stage, bye-bye.
Oh, really?
Leave.
so it was Broadway,
Oh, yeah,
right?
she
You did
couldn't-
Broadway?
No, I toured around the country.
Oh, wow.
So
Same thing.
she couldn't even sit in my dressing room
No.
during the show.
And not that probably if I made enough noise, but I never made noise. I
Yeah.
just went
You go
away.
find a nice bar down the block, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
There's always a nice bar down the block.
Absolutely, and she had a good time.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did.
She
It was a
could. She
great-
always says she wants to write a book.
yeah.
She hasn't.
Okay, it's not easy. I'll tell you that.
How did you start?
Like I said,
Because honestly-
a good friend of mine by the name of Ron Barber, who I thank in the book, he's a comedian and an actor, and we're really good friends. And he brought me out to lunch one day. He was like, I want you to meet my friend Jason. Jason and him wrote a TV pilot. And Jason also, he's actually in Vegas right now. It's really interesting.
What was your friend's name?
Ron Barber.
Oh, okay.
And so Ron introduced me to Jason. Jason's like wrote this play and he's touring with it. And it's called The Last Match. It's actually funny. It's like a rock opera with WWE.
Oh.
So yeah, it's sort of like there's
So he
there's
could turn this into a
yeah,
play.
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding. Like, I think I could do a one-man show with this, but also bring in music. Because I'm not musical. I can't sing. I can't do anything. Like I can't play. I never played a tune on an instrument, but I could write some funny shit.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to turn it into more of like me reading a passage from the book, and then have people like reenact it in a musical. So it'd be like in and out. So it's like not just me standing on stage for 2.5 hours. No one wants that. So
You never know.
and so I think so now it's like you lie enough about something and it actually become truth. I did started out as a goof and now it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And so, because everybody's like, oh, I want to write a book. I want to. They're authors, the famous authors, and they've got their whole process. But for somebody who's never done it before, like, did you just start talking and he was taking
Notes.
Notes.
Yeah, it started off. We were at the bar. We were with the lunch at the Playwright in Hell's Kitchen, and Jason, my friend Ron, tell Jason the story about this. Tell Jason the story about that. And then by the time the third story, Jason went to the bathroom. He goes, well, you know, he's a writer. Why don't you have him write? And I asked him, I was like, would you, I have all these stories. Would you want to help me write them down? Maybe make a book out of it? He goes, oh, sure, why not? And we sat at lunch one day, just like we're kind of doing right now. And he sat there and took down notes, and all of a sudden we had 13 pages. And I said, this feels kind of right to me. What about you? And he goes, this is great. So I would text him stories, and he'd have a catalog of all different stories that I remember. Drunk in the middle of the night going, oh, I should talk about this, or I should talk about that. And Jason had a list. And so I'd sit there, and we'd go out to lunch or breakfast or something, and I would tell him the story. And he would write it down. Then he'd come back to me and go, here you go. I go, that's not right, but everything else is perfect. And then we'd change it. And then all of a sudden, we got that.
That's incredible. That's
Yeah, his kids, his family came up to the campground one weekend that I go to. The kids were in the pool all day, and we sat at the pool and wrote for 2 days. You know, it's like it was just it's things like that. It was just way too easy for me to just sit there and tell stories to someone that was just sit there and laugh at everything I said. So, and then we got this. So.
Well, I can't wait to read it. I just got this copy.
I was gonna originally have like the dirty chapters, like where you had to like it was gonna be wax, and you had to break the wax if you wanted to read it.
That's pretty funny. Your mother might have skipped right.
Yeah,
that would have been funny if you got the book back and you see she broke the seal.
Yeah.
Mom.
I said, well, it could be worth more if the seal's not broken. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
That's a pretty good idea.
That's a pretty good. That is a very
like
good
that.
idea.
yeah, just so if you don't want to know what filthy life I had, you can just flip over the seal and not get there.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, but there's a couple of emotional things. I wrote about my experience with 9/11. That was kind of emotional, like when I was reading it.
Sure.
So because that was a tough time because I was like right in the middle of all that. So like look, I didn't lose anybody, but it was just I lost a lot. You know what I'm saying? My life was on such a great path before that happened because I was doing The Sopranos. I was working in the hottest nightclubs, and I was getting acting roles, and then that shut down New York City for a good year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The nightclubs that I worked at all closed because they you can't pay that kind of rent with there's nobody coming to the city. And then the Sopranos stopped shooting for that whole season. They stopped because Gandolfini, Michael Imperioli, Steve Sciarippa, and one of the directors, Timmy Van Patten, they all lived down in Battery Park City. So they all had to move. So they were all displaced, and the Sopranos just said, we can't, it was tough on everybody. So that all dried up. So whatever kind of money I had saved up and whatever credit cards I had, they all dried up. So and it was a tough year. So writing about that was that was rough.
How was that trying to read that?
Yeah, no, I got choked up. I had to stop for a little bit, especially towards the end. But I'm not getting choked up now.
Okay.
I promise. You're not going to get me to cry.
All right, tell us a dirty story now.
Not going to get you to cry. But so yeah, no.
I want to put up, Bobby, if you could put up that thing from Jackie Martling. This was his review of your book.
Oh yeah.
When Grillo asked me to read his manuscript, my first thought was, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm a terrible liar and I'm going to have to lie because it's going to be idiotic.
No,
But-
that's from Sarma.
No, that was...
No, that is a direct quote from my friend Sarma. Did you ever see The Bad Vegan on Netflix?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
that's,
I did.
That's from my friend Sarma.
Oh, that's from her?
Yeah,
Oh,
even
I'm
better.
So sorry,
Like,
because
no,
it
it's
says
okay.
Jackie the Joke Man Martling.
No, that's not.
And that actually sounds like something...
No, did you read the review from Robert Eiler? Read that one. Which I kind of wrote it, I got to be honest.
Imagine the horror I experienced as a kid meeting my stand-in, and it's Steve Grillo. I cried in my dressing room for hours thinking that's the way people think I look.
I was like, Rob, could you write something like that? And he goes, why don't you just use that, bro? That's really good.
Oh. All right, here's what Jackie said. As you read page after page of Steve's incredibly assorted and eclectic tales that have been his wild ride through quite a life, you won't be able to put it down, probably because it'll be too sticky. That also sounds like Jackie the Joke Man.
Yeah, that's more Jackie. That was my friend Sarma. She just wrote a book, The Girl with the Duck Tattoo. Because she got brainwashed by this guy. She wound up stealing millions of dollars, because of this guy. And then she went to Rikers for like 8 months. Like she literally she was like the original Orange is the New Black. Like, you know, and she's a really beautiful girl. Like the blonde hair, everybody like gravitates towards her. And she literally did some hard time in one of the worst prisons in the country.
Wow.
And when she came out, Netflix grabbed her and she lost everything. So like, well, we want to tell you a story. We'll give you. I don't even know. I don't ask people what they make. So I know they gave her a really good enough money to get her feet back. You know, and they kind of sabotaged her. Netflix kind of really did an awful, like, backwards thing about her, and edited it in a way where she looked like a monster, and she's not. She's actually a wonderful, sweet person, and a good friend. And so now she wrote a book talking about how the Netflix screwed her over, and she's doing another documentary, which I just shot. So, and she's also really fun to look at.
Imagine doing hard time for what did she do hard time for?
She basically stole a bunch of money from investors because this guy convinced her to steal, and they went on the lam, and she got busted because and she had the restaurant was called Pure Food and Wine. The balls on this girl. She's actually reopening the restaurant that she stole money from in the same exact spot. So because she's vindicating herself, and so it gets into my wife. My wife became a raw vegan, and that restaurant was down the block. And I don't know if you know anything about raw vegan. It's not a fun way to live, and it kind of makes you go crazy because you don't have the right proteins. Your body craves those things. So she was a raw vegan for 3 years. So that was like the only place we'd go to eat.
Make me crazy.
No, not even. You can't even have like. Yeah, so you know what vegans? The vegans are that you can't have anything from an animal. But some vegans can cook things. They'll cook the vegetables. They'll cook this. No cooking, nothing whatsoever. It was like you're eating raw vegetables every single day for 3 years. Like
We came.
What did she say?
How barbaric.
We came a long way.
Well,
Yeah.
Eating over.
If my
fire.
wild berry drops aren't raw vegan, I'm
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Amy, the Dubai chocolates are not raw vegan.
So my wife, sort of, that's why we became friends with Sarma, because we were there like, once a week or whatever. And I had, they have very creative ways of making things that aren't cooked interesting. But like I like the Caesar salad. Yeah.
We went to a vegan restaurant. There's a friend of ours. It was her birthday, and she was like, "I'm been having some issues, so I'm trying vegan."
Yeah. No.
I would rather be gluten-free.
I don't even know what
than
that is.
vegan.
What is gluten? What is
White
gluten?
flour.
It's
gluten.
anything that's delicious.
Yeah, exactly.
Pasta,
Anything
bread,
made in America.
cereal.
Or now they're finding it in
cookies.
everything. They're now
Yeah.
gluten-free wine. How is there gluten in wine? Like, I don't
There is no
understand.
gluten in wine.
But they slap that label
They
on now,
slap it
everything
on there.
now, and people are eating it up. It's crazy.
Gluten
So
free.
we but the place was really popular. Like, it was like you had to get a reservation.
I actually watched that documentary.
Yeah. So
And it's interesting that what you said about it, because she did kind of look like a piece of shit at the end of it.
Yeah, and they actually, on the documentary that I just did now, they played the clip that they altered, and it's really awful because she didn't say what they put on there, and it ends with their bad edit, their fucked up edit, and makes her look such like a monster, and she's not. So she's got this book out, and so but that's how. We wound up dealing. My wife was, she started off with getting colonics from this vegan guru guy.
Oh my God.
So she was going.
Robin, what's her name? do
Quivers.
that?
Yeah, that's the same guy.
Oh.
That's the same guy.
There you go.
So he's the guy's, he's a mental terrorist. Gonna use that a lot right now. He basically, my ex-wife was highly suggestible. Like, some people go to a hypnotist and they go, and then they're out. And some people it doesn't work. She is one of those people. If you go to the hypnotist, she's out, and you can totally program her to do whatever. So when you're getting a colonic, it's a very relaxed state. The lights are down, the candles are on, the incense is burning. There's new age music going on.
It's kind of like a colonoscopy, but with the frills.
Yeah. You don't have to go to the bathroom for a couple of days. You're good. So while she was lying there in that state, he was programming her. You can't eat. You should not. This is wrong. This is dirty. This is horrible. You can't do this. You can't do that. So every time she came back from a colonic, she was like, Gil says I shouldn't do this. Gil says I shouldn't do that.
Oh
And
boy.
years later, I was telling a friend of mine, Mark Hudson, who wrote like Living on the Edge for Aerosmith and stuff like that. He was the Hudson brothers, and I was telling him the story, and he goes, "Is his name Gil?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "He did the same thing to my wife. He does it to other people."
All right, stay away from Gil with the
Yeah,
cologne.
oh my God.
Holy
Good,
cow.
Mark went down there and they kicked his door in.
Oh my
He goes,
God.
"What you're doing to my wife is what I do with my guitar."
Oh my God. All right, so we have just a few minutes left. What other? You have anything coming up with this? You have book signings
No,
coming?
I might be doing something. I don't have anything I can announce right now other than the Audible's up. I'm on the TikTok thing. I'm on the Instagram thing. I'm on the Facebook thing. I'm out there promoting it hard. I got a lot of different people that have my back, and it's been a wonderful ride. I can't wait to make money.
Yeah,
It'd be great.
won't that be nice?
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
nice? All right. You have any shameless plugs, my dear?
Oh, I have some shows coming up, I think.
All right, let me do mine first because you have
You go
you
come
have
on.
way more than I do. I
Does your
have
mom have a rant to do? I think is it that Judy's rant? What's going on?
her.
No, I'm not ready. We can save it.
We'll
for
save
next-
it for
Okay.
next week. So I have May 1st. I'll be at Napper Tandy's in Huntington,
That'll be here
in
before you
Northport
know it.
rather. I'm sorry, in Northport. And then May 4th, I'll be at the Forest Hills Comic Con.
May the 4th be with you. That's a
May
big
the
Star
4th,
Wars
that's
day.
right,
Yeah.
that's right. And then I'll be at Paisan Con, May 9th and 10th. And then at the Showboat on May 17th and 18th. And I also have, it's a private show. I'm not even going to talk about that one, but
Okay.
whatever.
Private
Bridget?
show.
I'll be doing stand-up at Overgeek Brewing Company on the 25th. And then I'll be at Spider Bite Brewing Company on the 26th. So if you love beer and comedy, go to one of those.
Amy, any doctor's appointments
I
coming
do
up?
have a plug. Excuse me. Bobby, if you would be so kind. On Saturday, I will be getting my hair cut. Because this morning I walked around for about an hour like that,
Wow.
and no one in my house
How could
told
you-
me, which
No,
I think is very
How could you
rude.
not show up like
Yeah,
that? That's great.
So,
You should come in a robe and their hair like that.
so I immediately made a hair appointment.
Wait a minute,
Okay.
Bobby, just put that back real quick, 1 minute. That reminds me of Bugs Bunny, an
Yes.
interesting monster.
Yeah.
An
Those interesting people.
hairdo.
It was like a whole thing was
Yeah, that's a
happening.
lot.
The gossamer.
You know, I just went in and I like yelled at Grace. She must be looking at me like, you fucking asshole. You know.
Oh my
Tell
God.
me I look like that when I wake up.
maybe
Fix it,
All
take
right,
it down.
so we're going to end this way. We went for Chinese today,
That was mine.
Oh.
and we
well,
got
next
fortunes.
week, you
So
know.
we're all going to see what our fortunes are in the fortune cookies. My mother used to say when we were little, mine's going to say, crawl in a hole and pull the hole in after you.
Mine says that wasn't chicken.
I can't open it. Oh, God. I can't open mine.
I got you.
Oh, thank you.
A lifetime of
think your daughter would help
successful
you.
ventures is yours to create.
You see?
I'm halfway done.
That's
Okay.
very.
Mine says prioritize self-care as a daily ritual.
There you go. You're going
I'm
to get your hair done.
Wow.
Bridget?
There you
Mine
go.
says your social life will thrive in December, which is unfortunate because it's April.
Oh, well. I guess it's good.
It's gonna be
a little
it's gonna be a
quiet.
long summer.
Seriously.
Steve, what does yours say?
Don't miss out on your big chance to win big.
Wow.
Don't
No,
miss
your
out.
other side. These are your
No,
lucky numbers.
That's the, well, no, that wasn't
maybe
that
not.
wasn't chicken. No, love will find you. Love will find its way into your life this February.
February.
Damn it! I
Longer
got a
than
long
me.
way.
You got to wait till February.
Damn it!
I think it passed me.
Yeah.
Mine says this Saturday, take a break and indulge in
That
self-care.
one should have been mine.
Now,
That
my
should've been.
question is, if these months are any indication of when these
Yeah.
cookies will
Oh no.
That's what it is.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching tonight. Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Audible, his
Yeah.
book is on Audible, and you can get it on Amazon. Gorilla Parts by Steve Grillo. I can't wait to read it. I just finished the book, so I have nothing on deck. So
Oh well.
this
yeah.
is next.
Apparently, you can't put it down.
Because it's sticky.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for Laughter Saves Lives Live with John LaRocchia and Rich Walker. See you next week.